everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Arun. I'm a leadership coach. And today in this topic, I'm going to talk about something which is very close to people who are job seekers, who are looking out for good opportunities in good organizations. And one of the important question in their mind is, how do we get 30% hike or even more? You ask anyone today that, what's your salary expectation? And the first answer is 30% is a very normal thing. Is the industry norm. And then only few get 30% or even more, while majority get not more than 15 or 20%. Why is that? And number two, why is that most of the people, the first word that comes in there from their mouth is 30%? There could be multiple reasons. Number one could be that they have heard from their colleagues who have recently changed the job that they have got 30% hike in their current CTC. Or they would have heard from the job consultants that if you apply for this job, we will get you a good rise at least minimum 30%. Or could be that you change your previous job and at that time you were given 30%. So you are right, but at the same time you are wrong also in your approach to go to this level of 30%. Because if you know what exactly can be done to get not just 30%, but even up to 50%, 100% rise, you would be in a position to negotiate better. But if you are not clear what will help you to get 30% or even more, you may end up in just 10 or 15% hike. So you need to know what is your power. You also need to know how to negotiate. You also need to develop your network and many more things. But one thing is for sure, if you are adamant, and if you are not open to negotiate, then there is a chance that you may not only miss out the 30% growth, but you may also miss out from the job opportunity because the organization also always have a second backup to replace you. So in this video, what we are going to learn is that how and when you would not be able to cross 30% or you may touch around 30% growth. What are the factors that play around it? And you will also know that what are the things and in what positions of negotiation you are that you can even negotiate more than 30%, 50%, or even 100%. And I can give you a lot of proofs around it because this is what we do on a day-to-day basis. So here we go. But before that, don't forget to like and subscribe this channel for more reach and more content coming your way. So let me share with you the pointers that I have created that will help me to give you a fair idea about where things are. Okay, now let's look at some of the scenarios. When can you ask for 30% or more salary hike? Because there are a lot of factors that will play around when you are going to demand even more hike in your salary. Number one, role enhancement. The first factor is, let's say you are working at a particular level. Let's say you are working as a junior manager and the organization on the other side is upgrading your role, which means your role is getting enhanced. Now, this is where what you are doing is you are moving from band A to band B, which means in those organizations, when you are taken either as a senior manager or as a people manager or at a director level, you are enhancing your role. This is a point which will definitely help you to attract and get more than 30% of hike. And don't forget why you are being chosen for that role, because you carry certain skill sets, behaviors, attitudes that is taking you to that level. The second point is when you can command more than 30% hike is when you are a subject matter expert. So in my experience, I have seen that a lot of people who come with solid technical background, particularly from the IT field, they get not just 50%, they can go up to 100% rise and even more because their technical superiority will take them to the next level because they know that what they have done in terms of increasing their capability, and that's why they know their demand in the market is high and they will be paid accordingly. So if you are a subject matter expert, definitely you will be able to demand more hike. So what it also tells that if you are not a subject matter expert and if you demand more than 30%, there are more options available in the market. There are more people standing in the queue behind you. So think about it where you are. The third factor that comes into role is when you are being hired by a young or a startup company. Now, let's look at a scenario of a startup company. They are young, they are just building up their organization, their leadership team, and their second level of management. And likewise, this is a team that wants to attract a best talent. Then they will not look at the P&L from the angle of 10%, 20%. They will even go beyond 50% if they have to get that person on board. Because at this point of time, the organization is looking for somebody to join and build their leadership team. And from there, they can attract more people to come on board. So at this point of time, if you are talking to any organization or you want more 50% hike, look out for organizations which are young. But likewise, there is always a risk when you join a young organization, whether it will fly the way it is, whether they will not have a fund crunch, whether their management and their leader is in the right mindset, or you will get trapped into it. So that's a catch that you need to be a little careful about. But yes, this is a time when you can look for more than 30% or even 50% hike, because this organization will need you. And when they need you, they are open to pay you. Let's look at the next one, market value. Now, for example, this is something related to a subject matter expert, but at the same time, let's say that you are a person who is highly successful in a particular role. And now an organization wants to headhunt you. They will ask a particular consulting organization to find you out, make you sit, talk to you, and will pay you more than the market value that you right now are, because they know that by bringing you on the table, they can bring around or turn around their business. And this is another area where one can demand more than 30% easily, even if you are sitting at a very high package. So wherever you are right now, look at it that what are you doing in your current role? Are you enhancing your current market value? If the answer is yes, then be prepared. Someday someone is going to reach you out with an offer which will give you more than 30%. But for that, you also do you need to do a lot of networking. You need to reach out to various people throughout as a journey, not that somebody will search you on their own, because this world is now becoming too connected, and your credibility will only be visible when you are also open to network and reach out to other people. The next point, which is also called good negotiation skills. As I said in the beginning, you also need to be smart enough to be a good negotiator. Because if you are not a good negotiator, one is either you behave too adamant and that attitude would not be welcomed by the organization, or you succumb to like, jo milta hai de do. Whatever you can give, I'm open to take. Now, this is something will not help. So when you are changing an organization and when you are in a situation, when you know their value in the market, when you know that you are a subject matter expert, you need to also have good negotiation skills. I would highly recommend that you should watch one of my video, which is how to negotiate your salary with HR in India, which is the most watched video so far in my channel. This is one area where the more you sharpen your methods of negotiation, you can always get better than what you are. But for that, you need to be open, polite, and looking forward to joining the organization beyond just money as a motivator. The next is, as I said, solid networking. I have seen in my personal experience a lot of people who are at a very small CTC, just because they had a solid network and a good connections in the industry, their previous managers or bosses who have gone to higher positions, they have taken up their previous predecessors or previous colleagues at a higher role as well as at a higher CTC. So networking is the oxygen for a working professional today. If you are not, then definitely you are going to struggle not only in your current role, but in future opportunities that may come your way. So look into it very deeply, that where you are in terms of your networking. And again, visit my channel. You will get some more ideas about how to do networking and what are the benefits of networking. Next is leadership potential. Now, I'm sure you will agree that at any interview, any interview, one thing that happens is that the entire panel or entire faculty that is interviewing you is evaluating your leadership skills, whether you have the capability to scale up in the new role that they are hiring. If you have that leadership potential, a lot of time the organization put a bet on you on you so that you can come and deliver higher return on business, and that is why they pay you more than the standard 25-30%. But for that also you need to really work out very clearly that how you are working on your leadership skills, how your leadership has been able to bring a lot of change in your current role in terms of business, in terms of productivity, and how you can transform those skills from place A to place B is something they look out. And for that, you also need to reflect a very solid positive attitude during your interview, because that is something they are watching you. When you are interviewed, your people are looking at what is your attitude. Rest of the things we'll speak about from your CV, from the market references, from your performance. But most importantly, leadership potential is also reflected in terms of your attitude and your past behaviors. So kindly look into it. And also, this is a time that I would like to say that try to utilize one of our services that is called Talent Solutions, where we are helping people to do the assessments where they will know that where they are in terms of their leadership competencies. This will help you to create a lot of self-awareness to you. Next is your CV and LinkedIn profile. Nowadays, we all know that CV and LinkedIn profile play a very, very important role, because before you reach the interview place, you are being watched on your LinkedIn as well as you are watched in your CV. That means how you write your content, how you present yourself on a social media, what kind of posts that you comment, like, and what kind of articles that you put it, because that brings a lot of credibility in your profile. And these days, these are very, very common things that are available. Now, suppose you have a very average CV. Suppose you have not updated your LinkedIn profile. You have not talked about your achievements. You have not talked about your basic leadership understanding models. What will happen? People at the interview board will make a perception that, look at this person. No doubt he is good, but look at it. Such people have made a CV which is like an outdated. They do not know how to put it. This also reflects a question mark on your communication skills and presentation skills. It's something like this, that suppose I'm a very I'm a very highly successful leader, but my executive presence is not good. So not only your CV and LinkedIn profile, but when you go for the interview, how well you're groomed, how well you dress, how well you are mannered. I'm not saying about expensive clothes or expensive watches that you need to wear. I'm saying that how you carry yourself, the confidence that you carry. So your CV and your LinkedIn profile is something like an handkerchief that you keep in your pocket. If you have a handkerchief in your pocket, you know what I'm saying. But likewise, if your CV and LinkedIn is not good, it's like walking around in a conference or in a big executive forum without keeping a handkerchief in your pocket. You know what I'm saying? You lose confidence. And the last and the most important is your interview preparation. How well you prepare for any interview. Because let's say rest everything is good, you are a subject matter expert, you are highly good in negotiation, but your interview preparation was falling short of the expectation of the interview. So what I get a comment sometimes, Arun, you told me that the candidate was very good, but I don't know what happened in the interview. He could not articulate it. Maybe it was a bad day for him. So I had to reject him. So look at it from this angle, that if you are not well prepared for your interview, even if they absorb you, they will not be happy to share or even select you or even give you a hike more than 10 to 15%, just because the junior or the previous person who has interviewed you might give a recommendation and say that, boss, main dekh lunga, you hire him, it is my responsibility. But then he's not convinced, the CEO is not convinced. So he'll always say, but I can't give him this kind of CTC because to me, he's an average. If you can get the work done, great. But so that's where you miss out the chances. Please look at it very, very carefully, that how you can be very much ready to build your preparation and confidence when you go for an interview and you look into the eye of a person, answer confidently, give right reasons, show a good attitude, I can tell you, you can go all out. Now let's look at some of the other scenarios when you cannot ask for 30% or more salary hike, because the flip side of the game is also important. And a lot of people, they just do a blind side and they say that no, I need 30%, I deserve to get 30%. But when they are shown the mirror, when they are shown the image that why they do not, some people fail to accept that openly. While you need to also understand there are certain criterias which will definitely play a role when you are not in a position to demand more than 30%. So let's look at why and what is how it works. Number one is you just got an internal increment. Now let's imagine it's a month of May and you just received your increment in the month of April, and now you are hunting for a job and you get an opportunity for an interview. You, let's say your increment was 12% that you got from your previous last year performance. Now you go and say that, wow, I need minimum 30% hike. Now the company very clearly says, and at any HR forum, it's unlikely that somebody will give you 30% because you just received a 12% increment. So definitely they will give you an increment which will meet the expectation in the range of 15 to 20%. So that will come around to 32% for that financial year. But a lot of people get adamant, no, I need 30%, otherwise I will not change. What they miss out is that they have achieved 12% in the last year. Because from the HR fraternity or from the model of business, it also means that you can change another job, let's say in 6 months' time, and again you ask for 30%. So in a year, you will go to 50% hike. It doesn't work that way. However, some people may disagree with me because they say that if I am a subject matter expert and if I am in demand, I may get even more than 30%. Yes, you will. But where you will get stuck, that if you want to change a company in the next 1 year, and again, when you demand that 30% more hike, you will not be able to get. So you may be lucky by chance, but that's not the healthy process because you are in the bargain changing a lot of companies, and that's where your profile is getting down and down and down. Next, when, as I said, when you're changing jobs frequently, you can't expect more than 30% hike because no company will give you, because they will ask you a lot of questions that what makes you to, change your job so frequently. And let me tell you, with my experience, when you change jobs frequently in a period of 9 months or 18 months period, the quality of the companies also starts to deteriorate. You starts to go down. Let's say you're working at an A category company and you jump, you go down to a lower level, or you go to a startup. So your salary will also go down, or even if you get higher salary, the quality of the organization is also not good. So the question is what, because the background question is why you have to change jobs so frequently. You may always say this company doesn't have that, that company doesn't have this, and they were winding up or they were asking me to transfer. Please don't fool around yourself. The reality is that you could not perform to the expected level. Very high chances. There could be exception, but not every time it is an exception. So you really need to cross minimum 2 to 3 performance cycles in an organization to prove your mettle. And then when you change, you can demand more than 30%. Otherwise, you will always have to compromise on a salary. Next is poor performance track record. Let's say that you have applied for a role, but you are not too sure about it, that how your performance track record has been. Just because you work in a big company, sometimes you are lucky that you will be called for an interview and you might also get selected. But let me tell you, if your track record is not good, first, very high chances you will not be shortlisted. Two, even if you reflect a very good, polite attitude, the company will understand very soon that you nicely fooled them in the interview process. So the chances are in 3 months' time, you might be asked to leave if you do not have the right set of behaviors. And that is why when people do not work in the right spirit, they have to change the job within 6 months. So in my habit, when I look at any CV, I normally ask people that why you made a shift within 6 months, because don't forget that within 6 months is also a time when you get your confirmations. So if you are not confirmed, the organization is always open to ask you to leave. And that's why you get into the frequent job change model. And that's where you lose out. The next point is, which is existing CTC is high. Now let's imagine that you are already sitting at the top high end of the bracket. Let's say the limit of a role is 50 lakh and you are already at 55 or 60 lakhs. Now the company where you are applying doesn't have that budget because in their own model, if the band is same, they cannot expand your band. Now that's another chance that a company may give you a 5% or a 10% hike to ask you to move on. That is also not a position that you can command more than 30%. But that also raises one very important point, that why you are stuck at that level. That means you are not growing in your role at a particular time and a particular age. Because if you do not grow, you will start looking very heavy on your seat in terms of the CTC, but they will also have to measure your output. If your output is average in your current role and your CTC is high, then you are a problem in the organization. That's why you will see either you are laid off or you will be asked to change the department and go into some other role. And finally, you may be asked to leave. So the important is you look at your fat package and then also look at that which kind of jobs that you are applying, which means you should always apply for the next level. But if you are moving at a parallel level, you may not expect to increase your CTC by 30%. The next is poor negotiation skills. As mentioned earlier, if you are not good negotiator, you will definitely lose out an opportunity to get the right CTC. But as I said, being adamant means losing out on the opportunity because the company will never attract anybody who is hell-bent on getting that extra 2%, but losing out the opportunity to work with an organization. Many organizations, many organizations, they are ready to drop a candidate and start the process again rather than hiring somebody who is there. So think about it. You might have a 2 or 3 offers in your hand and you are happy about it, which is fine, which is absolutely fine. But still, maintaining a good track record and openness with the organization and the hiring managers and the talent acquisition team can help you to build good relationship, even if you don't want to accept that offer. Which simply means that tomorrow you never know, you might cross the road again. So keep your relationship and network very healthy. And that brings our next point, weak network. As I have already mentioned, if your network is not good, if you're not open to networking in this world today, which is full of networking opportunities, then for sure you are missing out something very important in your life, in your professional career. Next is poor leadership skills. Now, as I said already, that in the interview, you are evaluated based on your leadership skills. If your leadership skills are not adequate or up to the mark, again, that one chance is that you may not even clear the interview. And if you are still able to clear the interview, you will not be paid adequately. You may, the interviewer or the CEO may say, or the HR may say, okay, let us give him a chance. If he can prove himself better, we will see after next year. So that means this year you missed a chance. So what I'm trying to say is, if you do not work on your leadership skills and you do not know how to utilize your leadership skills in your interview, if you cannot articulate that, you will not be able to make them understand that how potentially capable leader you are, and you miss out on an opportunity. Well, these are some of the pointers that I'm sure would have given you some insights that what it takes to get even 30% or more, and what will drop out even if you are a high performing leader. So I want you to think one thing very clearly. What is going to get you paid? It is not the job change. It is what you do in your current work, how you are building your capabilities, how you are enhancing your mental agility that can bring more business, that can bring more productivity in your current role. If you are able to do so that effectively, there are chances that you would be picked up for a suitable role within the organization. If not, then somebody will hunt you and find you to get you on board because they are looking for somebody like you. Now it's up to you how you want to position yourself when it comes to getting hike of more than 30% by becoming a subject matter expert. Again, enhancing your capability, whether both technical or through behavioral capability. So it's a continuous journey. I hope this video would have given you a lot of insights, and I hope that this video would also give you a lot of strategies to plan, work around your capability enhancement, and I look forward to hear back your comments on this video below. Also, I want to highlight that if you really want to build your interview preparation skills, uh, your leadership assessment skills, HCN provides Talent Solutions, which has got all these services that includes your resume building, your LinkedIn profile writing, your LinkedIn profile optimization, and then finally leadership coaching. So there are many options available to you today to take a very one-on-one approach to build your skill sets. So I wish you all the best and thanks for listening to me.